Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Ivy and I am here to give you a book review. I am going to be reviewing today the first installment in the Legacy of Orisha series, Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. I'm actually going to do reviews on all of the books in this series, but we are starting with the first one today. This is actually going to be my first video on this channel, and I'm really excited about it. My intention with this channel is not necessarily to worry about getting a whole bunch of subscribers and a whole bunch of likes and things like that. It's more so just a place for me to come and express my thoughts and feelings on all these wonderful books that I like to read. And hopefully, people who are also reading these books will come across my reviews and we can have discussions in the comments and we can agree, we can disagree, and we can just talk about these wonderful books. So, like I said before, I'm reviewing the Legacy of Orisha series. Book 1, again, is Children of Blood and Bone. Book 2 is Children of Virtue and Vengeance. And book 3, the final book, is Children of Anguish and Anarchy. Beautiful covers for all of them. So starting off with book 1. So I feel like I'm not the best with not giving spoilers, but I'm going to really try in all of my videos to have the first portion of the video be a non-spoiler review. So first, I want to go ahead and read the back of the book, just if you are somebody who has never heard of this book, has only seen the cover of it in Barnes & Noble, has only heard about it from other people, and you have no clue what this is about. I want to read the back to give you a little insight into what this book is about. So it says, "They killed my mother, they took our magic, they tried to bury us, now we rise. Zele Adiobola," please forgive me if I'm pronouncing that wrong, "remembers when the soil of Orisha hummed with magic. Burners ignited flames, tiders beckoned waves, and Zeli's reaper mother summoned forth souls. But everything changed once magic disappeared. Under the orders of a ruthless king, the Magi were targeted and killed, leaving Zele without a mother and her people without hope. Now Zele has one chance to bring back magic, striking against the crown prince, who is hell-bent on eradicating magic for good. In a land where snow leopards prowl and vengeful spirits wait in the waters, the greatest threat may be Zele herself as she struggles to control her powers and her growing feelings for an enemy." So that is how this series starts out. So I just want to first start off with my rating because I feel like that won't spoil anything. So my rating for this book is going to be a 4 out of 5 stars. For me, I did feel like the beginning of the book was very slow. I honestly would probably rate the beginning of the book 2 out of 5 stars, which is crazy, I know. But towards the middle and the end, it really picks up, and I found myself really falling in love with the characters, the friendships, the relationships that were built, and just I found myself immersing fully into the story. So because of the middle and end, it bumped my rating up to a 4 out of 5. And when I finished this book, I was fiending to be able to read the second book. Now, these books have been out for a long time. Not the third one, but the first and the second one have. The first one was published in 2018. I'm very late on the train of reading these. I only started reading these this year. And it is actually my boyfriend that recommended that I read them. So by the time I finished the first book, I already had the second book on hand, ready to go. So I just want to also give a little overview of kind of how the book starts. This is still non-spoiler. However, if you don't want to know anything that happens in the beginning, if you want to go in completely blind, you just want to have the synopsis and that's it, I would go ahead and click off now and come back later once you've finished or started the book. But if you are someone who's still on the fence on whether or not you want to read it, or you just want more information on how the book starts, what's actually really going on, maybe the synopsis wasn't enough for you, I want to give you a nice little overview of how the book starts and some of the characters, give you a little bit more information about some of the characters. So, of course, as the back of the book read, we have Zele, also known as Zell. She is our main character. She's a young girl. She is a part of the Magi. So the Magi are people in this land that once had magic. And unfortunately, her mother was killed by the current king. Zella is very headstrong. She's very fierce. She's very stubborn. She's a fighter. And she really is always trying to be the best that she can and try to do good for others. So with her, she has her family. She has her brother. I'm so bad at pronouncing his name. I pronounce it as Zane. His name is spelled Tzain. So I don't know if it's Tizane or Zane. I'm just going to call him Zane for the sake of my review. So you have her brother Zane, who's a strong, good looking, athletic young guy who's really trying his best to be a caretaker for Zell. And their father, who they lovingly call Baba, he is trying his hardest to hold down the fort as the only parent in the picture. Like we read on the back, Zell's mother was killed by the king because the king was trying to eradicate magic and killed a lot of the elders and parents who wielded magic. So that's Zell. So the book opens up with Zell in a training session with Mama Agba. So Mama Agba is a elder in the community. She owns, I think it's like a sewing shop. And please forgive me, I read this book a couple months ago. I'm only just now doing a review for it. But it's like some type of sewing shop, clothing, something of the sort. But underneath the surface, it's also a training ground for a bunch of young girls, and they're learning how to wield staffs, how to fight with staffs. So we jump right into, Zell in a battle with another girl in her training class. Eventually, somebody comes into the room and they're like, hey, the king's guards are coming. So they quickly hide the staffs, they hide their training area, and they try to act like they're working. The guards come in and they're demanding more money for the tax because the tax has been raised. The king wants more money. Zell is very upset with this. She can't help herself but to speak out. She speaks out. She gets in trouble. She goes home to find that her father, Baba, is almost drowning in the nearby body of water trying to fish because he's trying to sell more fish to earn more money. So her and her brother then embark on a journey to another city to be able to sell some of the items, the fish items that they have to earn more money. Here, we are then introduced to Amari. So, Amari is our current king, our ruthless king. She is his daughter. And Amari also has a brother named Anan. So Amari is a princess. She's very sheltered. We immediately find out that she hasn't been outside of the palace very much. And she's meant to be this, I don't know, pretty perfect royal young girl. But we see immediately that she has dreams bigger than that. She wants to travel. She wants to see the world. And she's not very good at being very posh. So we immediately see that her and her mother don't really have the best relationship. And we kind of figure out that her and her father also don't have the best relationship as he is a ruthless king. Now, Amari has what I kind of understood to be a caretaker, kind of a maid named Benita. Now, Benita is one of the Magi, so she is like Zell. She once used to have powers. She's part of the people that used to have magic, but who no longer have it anymore. And Zell finds out that Bonita has been summoned to her father's quarters, and she's afraid because she gave Bonita a bracelet to be able to sell to feed her family. And so she thinks her father has found out. So she goes to sneak to her father's quarters to see why Bonita has been summoned. So when she gets there, she sees her father is talking about magic. And now, to Amari's understanding, magic is completely gone. Magic has been eradicated, it's nowhere around. So she finds it really weird that her father's talking about magic existing. So she sees Bonita in his quarters while she's hiding, and they have a scroll. They make Bonita touch the scroll, and as soon as she touches it, she lights up and her magic comes to life. So Amari's really shocked. She's like, oh my God, there's magic here. What's happening? As soon as they see that the scroll works, they kill Bonita on the spot, and Amari is very, very shocked. She's very distraught. She doesn't know what's going on. Bonita is someone who's been with her for a very long time throughout her life. It's someone that she loves very, very much. Someone that she considers to be a very, very, very close friend of hers. So she's distraught. Eventually, Amari goes ahead and she steals the scroll and runs away. In we have Zell and Zane. So Zell and Zane arrive to the same city where Amari is at, where her I guess palace, if you want to call it that, is at. So while Zell's inside the city trying to sell fish, she comes across Amari. Amari runs into her and says, "Please help me, hide me." Zell, just being the helper that she is, she does it. So they hide, they escape the king's guards that are chasing Amari, and they end up outside of the city. Amari explains to them about the scroll. They ignite Zell's powers, and now Zane, Zane, and Amari are going to start embarking on a journey where they're going to try to bring back magic. On the other hand, you have Amari's brother, Anan. So Anan has always wanted his father's approval. He knows his father is a very strong king. He knows a lot of things that his father has done, but he believes in what his father says, and he believes that his father just wants what's best for the land of Orisha. So he's working his way up to eventually be the king. He's in the military. And I believe he has a position of leadership. His father calls him in and lets him know that magic has not been eradicated. The scroll can ignite people's magic, and he sends Anan on a journey to go and find and track down Amari to bring back the scroll. And thus, our journey begins where we try to bring back magic, and we're being chased by Anon, and friendships and relationships and everything are built. So that is how the book starts off, and that's how it kicks off. So if you were unsure if you wanted to read the book and you wanted a little bit more detail, that was it for you. There might have been a couple of little spoilers in there, but the main plot and how things turn out is still something you can read about. So now here is my spoiler section. So this is spoilers. If you don't want to be spoiled, go ahead, click off, come back when you finish the book. So, spoiler section. Now, I'm not going to go in order. I'm probably going to jump all over the place, just giving my thoughts and my opinion. So, I just want to first talk about like the characters and the friendships and relationships. I want to start with Zell and Amari. I absolutely loved their friendship. At first, it definitely was a bit rocky, but in the end, they really learned to lean on each other. And I love the way that they supported each other. I loved the way that they admired each other, and they really pushed each other to be better, and they protected each other, and I absolutely loved it. Now, when I read this book, the only thing I knew about it was what was on the back of it, and that it was an extremely popular book. And I also knew that the third book was coming out. So when I decided to start reading it, I did not look at any reviews whatsoever. I wanted to finish the first two books and then go ahead and look at reviews. So when I finished the first two books and I opened up Goodreads to look at the reviews, I was very shocked to see that people thought that there was some type of romantic relationship between Zell and Amari. I did not get that feeling at all. And there was quite a few reviews that I saw that felt like they had better chemistry than Amari and Tizane or Zell and Anon. And I just did not agree. I feel it is a bit weird when there was no indication that they were into each other. We never saw Amari say anything romantic, you know. She's complimented Zell, and I believe Zell's complimented Amari, and to me, Zell was always seen as a beautiful girl. She was always described as like this strikingly beautiful girl. So it makes sense why Amari would be like, wow, she's so beautiful. And I also, anytime she complimented her or, you know, was really worried about Zell, I always thought it was she just had a deep admiration for Zell because we have to remember that Amari was really was sheltered in the sense of she had to stay in the palace. She hasn't gotten a chance to travel. She did learn how to fight because her father forced her to fight with the non, but she wasn't really a big fan of it. Zell got to live this very free life. She has a mother and a father that she loves very much and who love her very much. She has a brother who she has a really good relationship with. She's very well traveled. She's not afraid to fight. She's not afraid to speak her mind. And I always thought of Amari's admiration for Zell being the fact that she wanted to be like Zell. So I never saw a romantic relationship. And even after reading all three books, I still don't see it. So let me know in the comments if if you read this, what are your thoughts on that? Because I didn't see it. So that was Zell and Amari's relationship. Zell and Anon. Now, Zell and Anon, I did feel like their relationship happened really quickly. I definitely kind of raised an eyebrow. I definitely raised an eyebrow just because it was like, on one hand, he hated her so much, and then he saw her and he was instantly in love. However, I kind of wrote that away in my head because I kind of just tried to think to myself, okay, with Anand's powers, he was able to see her past. He was able to feel her emotions. He was able to get close to her spiritually. And the way the writer wrote about them, it almost seemed like they were destined to be together. And so I kind of was just like, okay, there's a spiritual aspect to this. So I'm not going to apply the same rules that I would apply to like a normal relationship, just because I do feel like, you know, they're linked somehow. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm sure maybe in like the later books, when I first read the first book, I should say, I was thinking to myself, you know we're probably going to see something that just talks about their destinies being intertwined. And so that's kind of just how I read that. But once I kind of got over the fact that it happened really quick, I loved the relationship. I loved the way Anon loved her. And I love the way he admired her. I don't know, maybe I'm just a sucker for romance, but I really, really liked it. And I loved their connection. And I really wish it could have lasted longer in this book. I really dislike how their relationship ended up, but we'll get to that in a second. Next, I want to talk about Amari and Zayn. There's not really much to say about them. I personally did really, really like their relationship. I don't feel like their relationship was a main plot point, so I honestly wasn't expecting that much development from it. I did feel like it developed in a natural way, though. I mean, they're two young people who saw each other, they thought the other person was really cute. They spent a long time together traveling, going on this journey to bring back magic. They watched each other be strong, they watched each other be weak, and they just grew alike for each other. And I feel like that relationship actually did happen in a very normal and natural way for young people, at least. But it didn't have too much development. There wasn't too much information that was given. Um, but I know it's not a main plot point, so I didn't really mind that. So that's my feelings and my thoughts and views on the characters and the relationships. Now, in terms of what happened in the end of this book, ugh, although I thoroughly enjoyed reading it, I really was so sad to see Anon go out the way that he did in this book. Um, it hurt my heart. Anon for me was so he was so flip-floppy, and it wasn't done in a good way. And just from some of the things that I've read, it appears the author wanted to model Anon off of Zuko from Avatar: The Last Airbender. So if you've seen that, one of the main characters, Zuko, struggles between good and evil, and it's done very, very, very well. In my opinion, I just don't think that Tome really I don't think she did it quite correctly. The thing that makes Zuko great is Zuko pretty much stays on one side. Yeah, you get glimpses here and there of him doing the right thing, but all throughout Avatar: The Last Airbender, for a majority of it, he's on the side of his father. He's on the side of evil, and he wants his father's approval. We get certain pockets of him, doing good things, but for the most part, he knows where he is supposed to be at. Versus Anon really, really flips back and forth. And it's really confusing. For me, I don't understand why the author made Anon fall in love with Zell so much, made him have so much admiration for her, made him change his mind completely. He hated magic. He hated himself for having magic. He disliked Zell. And then he does this complete quick 180 that kind of gives you a little bit of whiplash, to be honest. He does a complete 180, and he ends up, wanting to actually bring back magic and wanting to help Zell and Amari and Zane. And then he does another 180 again and goes back to the side of his father. And the thing that I really disliked is I hated the fact that he was a part of the reason why Zell's father died. I hate it. And I'm gonna be honest, like once Anon went to the good side, I loved him. I honestly did. I don't know. I was rooting for him so hard. And it really, really sucked to see him go to the dark side. And it just didn't make sense, when Zell got captured and the king, had a maggot, you know, um, drawn into her back. And the fact that that didn't change Anon's mind at all, like all he did was help her get out of the building. But like he still stayed back with his dad. I didn't understand it. And I hated to see that happen. I hated, the fact that he was a part of I hated the fact that he was a part of Zell's dad dying. And to me, also something that I really didn't like was, when the king is about to kill Zell's dad, was about to kill Baba, Anon's like, you said you wouldn't hurt him. You said you would let him go. And I'm like, this is a ruthless man. This is a man who has killed hundreds of people, children. People are enslaved because of him. He's the one that told you to burn. I think he burned it down, right? I think he did. I hope that's book one. I believe he burned down like Zell's town or something like that. Like he's the one that sent you to go do that. Like, what do you mean you didn't think you thought that he wasn't gonna hurt her dad? I just don't understand that thought process. And I'm not gonna lie, like as a reader, I'm like sitting back and I'm like, okay, tell me, what are you thinking? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't like that. Like, I would have maybe liked it better if Anon didn't know that, the king was going after her dad, and he found out last minute, and then maybe Zell was like, oh my god, you brought my father here, and maybe he's like, no, I didn't know. And I would have maybe liked that, but like it just seemed incredibly odd that Anon, this character, really believed that his father would not hurt Zell's dad. That was really weird to me. Um, so I really disliked that. I hated to see him die. I really did. I hated it. I was just so sad at the way his character just dissolved, and like I was really sad about the choices that his character made in the end. Um and I felt so bad for Zell, and I felt so bad for Zane, and I felt so bad for Amari. They fought really, really hard, and they did end up bringing magic back, which was great, but it came at a great cost. I think it was really awesome to see Amari have her power, and it's a little crazy. She did kill her father, but I felt like that was really important, and I loved to see her claiming her power and her doing that. Um, Honestly and truthfully, I don't really have too much to say about this first book. I don't know if it's because I read it a couple of months ago, but that's pretty much all of my thoughts on it. I did feel like the beginning was really, really slow, and I can't even describe why I felt it was slow. For me, I started to really enjoy the book once Anon caught up to the group. That's when the book really picked up for me. Because other than that, I'm like, we are traveling for a really long time. Ooh, there's not really much going on. I don't know. But overall, though, I would still give it a 4 out of 5 because once Anon caught up to the group, the rest of the book for me was just so riveting. Like, it really kept me on the edge of my seat. I wanted to know what was happening next. I was really, really, really interested to see what was going to happen. And that's my book one review. I hope I didn't miss anything. Um, so yeah, Children of Blood and Bone, book one, 4 out of 5 stars. Really, really, really beautiful cover. I recommend reading it for sure. Um, Now, do I recommend the series? I don't know. I feel like I should say that in this video, right? Do I recommend this series now that I've read the whole thing? My answer is going to be no. I recommend this book, but I recommend to read this book and to not really finish the rest of the series. And when I do my other reviews, you guys will see why. You'll get a bit more of my thoughts on some of the other books, book 2 and book 3. That I definitely have a lot to say about those. But book 1 is a definite recommendation for me, 4 out of 5 stars. And that's all from me. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please leave me a comment. You don't have to subscribe. You don't have to like the video, but leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about the book. Let me know what your feelings are. Is there anything that I missed? Anything you want to talk more about in the comments? Let me know. And I will have a couple more videos out later on not only just the rest of the series, but some of the other books that I am reading. So please look out for those as well. All right, that's it from me. Bye.